Hello, 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 and welcome to a very special new episode of my Big Fat Pull List. Guys, there's so much going on right now with conventions and the summer coming. I feel like lately every episode we've done is like a very special episode. I feel like that's all we keep doing right now.
Well, as long
But
as the listeners listen, they're all special because
that's
they're all
right,
special to
because
us.
they're all special to us.
To be
Yeah,
fair, a lot coming up and a lot has happened already.
there has been.
Mhm.
Yes, there has. We will get into that here in just a moment. I am Dr. Impact, and joining me today we have.
The confused as always, Smurphy.
The no sexual innuendos today, Pistol Danger.
I like that. The no sexual innuendos today.
So what can I say? Sometimes you got to leave them wanting more. You can't always get it from the rear for me each time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, it just becomes commonplace.
Yeah. For that, they have to come to my OnlyFans, okay?
Oh man, it's full circle
That's
from Free
right.
Comic Book Day. Full
Yeah.
circle.
However, they could go to our Patreon page. They wouldn't necessarily get that from
No,
our Patreon, but they could go to the Big Fat Pull List Patreon
That
page.
depends on the tier, if we're being honest. You know?
that's true.
Depending on what they're willing to shell out, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah. Nothing's off the table when you're poor. Believe
that's
me.
right. That's right. Especially when you're a poor comic geek, nerd like us.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a poor comic geek nerd like us, you have awesome weeks like the week that we just had, and because of that week, we are going to start a new kind of episode type. I know long-time listeners know that we do an episode called Current Issues, where roughly once a month we will get together and we will talk about current comics or movies or TV shows that we've been watching or reading to share thoughts. Well, this last week there were a lot of big things, and we felt like they were too big to be regulated to just a current issue. So, welcome to our inaugural episode type of Shop Talk.
It just feels good to say because how often you two worked at a comic store. I've only visited. I've never been behind the register except for to take what cash I needed while they were unaware. But
Well, we were distracted, probably.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Hey,
you
geek,
never rob
what's
friends.
that over
You
there
never
on the
rob
wall?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
pistol.
Smurphy and I, we didn't just work, we worked together in a comic
Yeah.
shop for, gosh, that was how long?
Several years. Oh, how long ago, or how long total did we work together?
I don't know
Both.
either. I can't remember.
Both. Man, now sadly it's probably been 7 years, 8 years since we've actually worked together.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
longer.
probably-
But then we worked together for at least I swear it was 3 or 4 years.
Oh, we worked together more than that.
On Wednesdays,
I
yeah.
would
A lot of
say.
Wednesdays.
Oh, well, we worked Wednesdays together for about 3 years, but I think
Yeah.
we both worked at the shop for about 8 years together. There was just a period
yeah.
there where we didn't work the same shifts.
Right.
But yeah, and Smurfy, the idea of Shop Talk, this was actually your idea and kind of spins out of, in a way, the genesis of the podcast itself, really.
Yeah, well, it just reminds me of like when you were at the comic store, customers would
Mhm.
come in and you would just start chit-chatting with them about pretty much whatever was kind of currently going on, either
Yeah.
rumors of a movie coming out or rumors of a TV show or a comic, and you could spend hours, and it was great for us as employees. Like,
Mhm,
this is going to
mhm.
kill my shift. This is great.
Right, this is going to kill the day, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it, especially if you had a cool customer come in that you love talking to.
Mhm.
So that's what kind of spun out. Like, hey, man, like we all could sit there and talk nerd stuff for hours. So I was like, why don't we share it with our listeners?
Yeah.
And that's what we do now. Yeah. I think it's important we give credit where credit's due when it comes up with these new show names or show titles. And I think Smurfy really takes the cake home. Not a literal cake, but, congrats, buddy. Good job. You did it.
I'm not just pretty, guys. I'm
Yeah.
not just pretty.
Wow.
I love the silence
awkward
from
silence,
Pistol
yeah.
and I both were like,
Right,
yeah, if you say so. Okay.
And on that note,
Well, on that note, yeah, let's get into our first bit of Shop Talk. So this last week, this last weekend was Free Comic Day 2022. And now, Pistol, you didn't get to go around with us.
Yeah.
Smurphy and Mr. X and uh, we hit like 7 or 8 shops, didn't we?
I know at least definitely 5. Even though I was the driver, I was trying to recount it with somebody. And I'm like, I know we definitely hit 5, like 5 for sure. But you're right. I think we might have hit 6 or 7.
It might have been, yeah. I mean,
I
we
know we
went
didn't
all over
buy
the
something,
place.
and we didn't buy something from everybody. We really did try though. It's like
We did try, and I certainly did spend a little too much. But part of that was because of my pull list. I also picked up, my pull at my local
that's true.
shop. So outside of my pull, I guess I didn't really spend that much. Probably
But
my
real
biggest.
quick,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, just for the listeners out there. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Free Comic Book Day,
Oh yeah, good. Yeah,
yes,
good point. Yeah.
you get to go to a comic book store, your local one, and they do have selected comics for you to walk in there, and you do get for free. Now, some shops were offering like 2 books, some were offering 5, some had deals where like, hey man, you get 3. If you spend $5, you can get one more, and if you spend $5 more, you get one more, and that keeps adding up. So every store is a little different. But the whole premise is that if you're a poor kid, or if you're just like, hey, I'd like to get into comics but don't want to buy any, Free Comic Book Day is great, man. Go in there, get a sampler book, and it's not just garbage or stupid stuff. They had like Turtles and they had Avengers, and they normally have previews or like kind of like appetizers for stuff to come. Little samplers. Like, hey guys, we have a story in the works. Here's a
Yeah.
sample of it. Here's the first 3 or 4 pages of it to get a taste of it.
Well, and some stuff, especially from Marvel and DC, they're not even samplers. They're like original content that you
Yeah, that's
won't
like
get in the first issue. It's almost
right.
like a teaser trailer short film, almost like a short film. Yeah, it'd be like a
Yeah,
short film to tease an actual film is almost what
Okay.
they're like.
yeah.
Um,
That's a kind of a
and
great way to put it. Like I said, it's like the appetizer is still part of the meal, but you're just
yeah,
getting a little,
yeah,
getting a little taste. And now they're like, hey, now they're in continuity. And
yeah.
they're even getting, and now they have tiers where there are some adult comics out there. They're a little bit
Hmm.
more gory and bloody, but they have those specially labeled. So it's
Yeah.
not, so if you have a little kid, you can't be like, oh no, which one do we get? Just they'll guide you.
So
Mhm.
now the 3 big ones were, of course, the big ones are always the Marvel and DC ones. The 3 big ones this year were the DC preview for Dark Crisis, which is their big summer event coming up here in 2022. Uh, and then Marvel had 2. Marvel had one that previews their new big crossover, Judgment Day. It's called Axe Judgment Day. AXE, Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, Judgment Day. And then the third one was Spider-Man Venom, which sets the stage for the upcoming story arcs in both of those books. And then I guess if you would consider a fourth big one, the fourth big one is probably the Ninja Turtles because it helps to set the stage for the what's it called, the Armageddon game or something like that. I
Something like
think.
yes, I believe you're right. Something like that. It's close to that. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little behind, and I'm sure Mr. X would correct me if he was here.
he's
And
probably
I'm
yelling in his
He's
chair right now
probably
at you.
yelling right now
Hmm.
at the
You idiot!
podcast. You
You
got it
idiot!
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
Um, but so yeah, those are kind of the big ones. I don't know about you guys, but I did read some of my free books already. Not everything. I haven't read the Dark Crisis or the Turtles one yet, but I read Judgment Day and I read the Spider-Man Venom.
I have
And
I have not, sadly. They just came home and sat in my stack of things to read because we're going through a bathroom remodel and that's got priority right now. But once that's done, I'm
you
like, I'm
mean
gonna need to sit
life?
down.
Life takes
Yeah,
priority?
right. I know.
Wow.
Sometimes I try
Oh,
not
okay.
to, but yeah, that and sleep. So
Well, it's like
Well,
that famous Jeff Goldblum line: "Comics will find a way."
that's
that's
right.
right.
Comics will
Comics
find a
will
way.
find a way. That could be our new tagline for next season.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of like it actually.
Yeah,
Comics will find a
find a
way.
way.
Well, I won't spoil anything since you guys haven't read them yet, and our listeners maybe have or haven't. What I will say is that the Judgment Day preview uh, doesn't really give us anything we didn't already know. We
Okay.
already know that the Eternals are viewing the mutants as deviants, and the Eternals are here to exterminate deviants. So they're now going to exterminate the mutants,
Are
and the
these the
Avengers
Eternals
are
from the
stuck in the middle.
movie? Are these the Eternals from the movie or no?
Well, I mean,
Are
their
some?
comic book
Yeah,
counterparts. I
we
mean,
sorry,
yeah.
yeah. But I just want to know if it was the same characters or if it was like
Oh yeah,
different.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
like,
Druig is in there and
okay,
Icarus, and yeah, they're all there. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
curious because like I said, the movie kind of made it seem like that there was a whole bunch of different Eternals. Like we have our
No, no,
own
no. It's. I
roster.
mean, yeah,
So
there
okay,
there are a bunch, but no, these are the ones that we know from the
got you.
movies,
Okay,
and so that yeah, the preview it didn't really give us anything different that we didn't already know. It just kind of helped set the stage for anyone coming in who didn't know about all this. And
me.
then, right. But in the back of that book, what makes that book really special is in the back of that book is a preview of a Judgment Day tie-in or spin-off with a brand new character, the first appearance of a new Marvel character, Blade's daughter.
Katana.
Lots of questions to follow up
That's
with
right,
that.
Katana. Yeah,
Yeah,
dagger is yeah.
short sword.
Yeah.
Rapier.
Yeah. And I, like I said, I read it. It wasn't bad. It didn't do anything to really catch my attention, but I'm glad I have it. The Spider-Man, that was far more interesting.
Really?
Um, Now I have not. I've been getting the Amazing Spider-Man, the Beyond stuff with Ben Riley, but I'm not caught up. So I don't know. Maybe the stuff that happens in this free book, you know, was showcased in there, but yeah, I thought it was really cool and different, and I'm very much looking forward to Amazing Spider-Man. I thought that was kind of neat, and I've read a few of the some of the smaller press stuff that I've gotten. There's some horror books that were put out,
Hmm.
and some of that stuff was kind of interesting and kind of cool. But like Smurphy has said, Free Comic Book Day is just a day for poor comic geeks to go around and have fun. Shops always have sales. Well, I guess not
Yep.
always, but a lot of
Most of them
times.
did.
Art shops
Oh,
always have sales.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just
Smurphy,
say.
what was kind of the best buy for you at Free Comic Day this year?
Well, I don't know about the Best Buy. The buy I'm still excited for was that Gambit mini bust
Well, I mean,
that
if
I
that was
found,
your bet, I mean,
and it wasn't on sale, but apparently it was new and it's super well
mm,
done,
it's
and I
really
can't wait for
cool.
more of them to come out. Yeah.
We'll
Well,
have to
maybe take
share
a
a picture of
picture
it,
and yeah,
listeners.
maybe in
Yeah.
a second
No,
you
'cause-
could just show
and
me
what's
too.
nice too is the new statues. Like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they make them out of PVC, so they're lighter
Hmm.
weight. This one's
Mhm.
got some weight to it. It reminded me of like the
Oh,
old Bowen busts. Like it's a very
oh,
like, but the design of it is like definitely like that '90s cartoon version of Gambit.
that's
So
super
that's what
cool.
was cool. Yeah, and with some heft in it, I was like, man, this takes me back to the old days. Because I don't know if you guys know, like I worked the very first Free Comic Book Day,
Hmm.
and I remember the bizarre amount of questions we get asked leading up to that. Like people would walk in and be
Yeah.
like, "So is any comic free? Like I can just walk in and take one?" I'm like, "No, you can't walk in and grab the first appearance of Punisher and go, 'This is my free one.'" Like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, like there'll be special ones just for that.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you don't get to pick out your poll list. Like this one's free. Nope, sorry,
No,
man.
no, doesn't work that
Yeah, it
way.
don't work that way.
I think for me, I think my big buy over the weekend was an issue 17 of the Adventures of the Fly from what was it,
Oh yeah.
1964, I think.
Where that was a random find too, wasn't it? Like it was
It
just like
it was a
in a
random
drawer.
find. Yeah, it was in this weird like Silver Age drawer at Comic Relief
Right.
in St. Charles, Missouri, and yeah, I didn't really expect to find something like that, but there it was, and it was like $7, and it I I think for the condition it was in, it was fine for $7. If they had charged any more for it, that would have been too much. So I think it was a good price, and yeah, and it's one I don't have. So there are not a lot of those '60s Mighty Crusaders books that I'm missing, but that was one of them. So that was kind of nice to get.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Listeners, what did you find out there on Free Comic Book Day? This isn't a rap question. This is just a general question because I found a couple of things lately, not on Free Comic Book Day. As we've established, I was unable to participate for reasons other than, things. But, I found a PVC Doctor Doom statue
Oh,
that
right,
I love.
right.
Yes. That
So,
looks awesome.
mhm,
That is an
Uh
awesome statue. Yeah,
mhm.
and just a funny story about Free Comic Book Day. We had a fourth guy with us,
yeah.
one of the doctor's friends, and he was also like me hunting down GI Joe comics, like the original run. And every shop we went to, he would be like, "Oh man, they don't have anything I need." I'm like, "Yep, I already hit him a couple weeks ago, and cleaned him out." And he's like, "Oh." But I'd let him look anyway because that's the thrill of the hunt. But he, like, the look on his face of sadness every time he'd be like, "Yeah, I didn't find any." I'm like, "I know, because all the ones you're looking for I bought like last week." And he's like, "Oh." So yeah, I was like, "Sorry, man." Like, I was like, I apologize," but I'm like, "Yep," like probably cleaned him out before you.
That was fun. That was an artist friend of mine named Aaron Allen. Aaron did a lot of the comic book art that was featured in Four Color Eulogy, and he's a very good friend of ours. It was nice to have him along, and that was a fun ride. I mean, I know that you were driving, but
No, it was
but
nonstop
it
geek
was
talk
nonstop
and
geek talk in the car. I
fun.
mean, we
Yeah.
had a lot of really funny conversations, like this one right here. Take a listen. This is Smurphy and Mr. X and Aaron Allen and I having a little bit of a discussion while driving around on Free Comic Day.
Okay. Well, who are the Avengers? That's what the 5 and 6, I think. Exactly. That was the thing, because I thought, like I said, that they already had in the works. Like, we're going to surprise you guys who the Avengers are going to be. Well, and they might actually do that, but as of right now, if something bad happens to the Earth, it's a lot of insectoids. Who the is showing up to save the day? Spiderman, Ant-Man, a wasp, bunch of insects, and a bird. A bird. They call him a patriotic bird. Yeah.
And it was always random, but it was always like comic related, and it was just kind of it was just super fun. Like I missed that. Like
Yeah.
that was it was a super great time. Pistol, I know you were there in spirit. I made sure I should have called you and put you on speakerphone. That's my
Yeah.
mistake, man. Next
I
time.
was doing a reading, I couldn't have answered.
oh, I thought you were wrestling. You're okay.
No, I
That
wrestle on
was the reading.
Fridays. Saturday, I did a reading.
Gotcha.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, that would have been awkward. Have your phone out. Don't mind me, guys. this is gonna get loud.
But
it's cool.
But what you did also do that Saturday night, Pistol,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of our next topic, and that's what Smurphy and I both did on Thursday. We saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
What a great and not at all forced segue. I
Not at
appreciate
all, right?
hey, in all fairness, I cannot remember the name of the movie. I was like, Doctor Strange and Madness. Like, for the life of me. Everyone's like, what are you
You were
seeing?
just
I'm like, Doctor Strange 2. That would
Yeah.
be it.
Doctor
Like,
Strange in the-
Madness.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. I'm like, Madness. I don't know, because I didn't know if he was
Doctor
in it
Strange
or...
and Scarlet Witch. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was in it or deals with it or ran
Mhm.
away from it. I'm like, he's something with the madness.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's gonna be crazy.
He's like he went real far for it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just right here, but whatever.
Well, and it makes sense too because it was. I mean, that's Marvel Weekend. It's been Marvel Weekend since the first Free Comic Book Day.
My
Smart of
Facebook
him.
page exploded with all those like, oh, here's your memory from a year ago, and it was like an
Mhm.
Avengers movie, and they're like, here's your memory from like years ago, another Avengers movie, and I was like, oh yeah, man, it's definitely Marvel Weekend. Like, yeah, I'm like, yep,
Yep.
they all hit.
Yeah, Marvel's like, we know our audience and we'll cater
Yeah.
to them. And for that,
Hey,
I appreciate it.
It's super smart though. Why wouldn't you? Hey man, let's make a
Right.
weekend of it. Go get your free comic book. Go see your movie. Like
Right.
you know, yeah.
So, gentlemen, let's just right out the gate say spoilers. If
Yes.
you haven't seen Doctor Strange and you're listening to this, we're immediately talking spoilers. Just because for me, I only watched the initial trailer and then nothing else.
Mad props to you. That's tough to do, man.
It's actually very
And I know.
hard. Yes.
And every time we talk, you're like, I haven't seen anything. Be quiet. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I trust you guys, but like
shouldn't.
every now and then I'll be like blah 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 blah. And now we're in spoilers.
Yes.
So
We are in spoiler territory.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Either fast forward or stop right now. Go see the movie, then come back and listen.
Right.
Yeah. Because I had a friend who was like, "Oh yeah," and they have the yellow Professor X hover chair in there. I'm like, "That's why? Why would you tell me that? Like, why would you take that little bit of joy?"
When would you get told that?
Like before you saw the movie? He said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, whatever
I was
ex
like,
friend that
that's
is.
one of the fun things about it. He's not like wheeling up. It's the 90s animated. And I'm just gonna say it. My favorite surprise guest, 90s animated cartoon theme popping up with Xavier.
Yep.
The theater Yeah, I saw it on Thursday, right, which you think would be full of nerds, and
Yeah.
that came on. I was the only guy that went, "Oh yeah," like everyone else was like crickets, and I was
No.
just like, "Oh, really, man? Like no one else excited for this?" I was like, "Okay, like whatever.
Fucking
Know your
fucking
audience."
dorks. Ha!
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
like
we're nerds.
not yeah, you non-nerds. I'm like,
And that
Yeah.
was
"Jeez."
it was surprising to me that that's the theme. I mean, it was awesome, but they didn't use the movie theme, which
Yeah.
is recognizable too. So
It,
I
Mhm.
mean,
you know what?
you know,
It's the
but they
chair.
it's the chair.
Yeah.
Well,
That
and I
chair is '90s cartoon.
I have read since seeing the movie. I have read that the way Feige and the production team view it, that Earth is an offshoot of the animated X-Men Earth. So it's not the same Earth as the animated X-Men, but it's a variant offshoot
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
from that. So that's why that music is there.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Like I've been listening to like other podcasts and like I'll just be upfront. I'm not a terrific movie reviewer guy. I'm just a common man. You know what I mean? I like my nerd stuff and I like my geek stuff. And as long as you're not too egregious with stuff, I'll let a lot slide. You know what I mean?
Right.
And everybody's like, "Oh, his chair was too big," and
Oh no, what?
like,
Too
shut up.
big?
They gave him the
Yeah.
X-Men theme. They gave him the chair, and then he did the comic book thing where he touched his head
Yes.
and the little waves came out.
The waves
Yes.
came
Yeah,
out.
It was awesome. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
like
"Shut up, dorks!"
Yeah.
Can't get more comic accurate.
Right. I was
that
like, just-
and I was blown away by Black Bolt. Because then you
Yeah.
see Black Bolt, and he was in his comic outfit, and I was just like, "Yes, all you critics who said
And
you can't be in
it
the
was
comic outfit, it
Anson
won't
Mount.
work."
Yeah.
Yes,
And it was
and
like
the details were perfect on him,
Mhm.
and even when he spoke, you
Mhm.
saw the shockwaves go. Oh man, I was
Oh,
nerding
yeah.
out the whole time. I was
Yeah.
like, "This is fantastic." I want the whole movie to be this right here. Like
So
keep
if
feeding me
you're a
this stuff.
listener, you know that we talked about this movie already.
Mhm.
And we made essentially predictions for who the Illuminati would be. Now we were wrong in a few. I
Yep.
assumed the person with the cane walking across, or the staff walking across, would be Namor. It was Mordo. Blech.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we also got, which I was really happy to see, Haley Atwell's Captain Carter.
Hmm.
Yes.
There's a theory going around that they got that version of Captain Marvel because they couldn't get Tom Cruise to do Superior Iron Man. Because to me, Superior Iron Man makes more sense than her, just because
Agreed.
of the Ultron bots alone
Mm.
and the way she, and again, spoilers, dies. Like,
Well, I'll tell you that if there is any one thing about the movie that I was bummed about, and Smurphy and I have talked about this already, and we both are
Mhm.
kind of in agreement on it. If there's any one thing that we were bummed about, it was that it was our own fault for buying into too many of the rumors,
Yeah.
Oh.
and
we ate 'em all.
there were cameos that we did not get. Now that's our own fault for buying into rumors.
Sure.
That has nothing to do with the movie. So I saw it with my folks, and I was saying that to them, and my dad brought up a very good point. He said, "Wouldn't it be interesting the way that Kevin Feige likes to play with everyone, and I mean to the point where he'll shoot fake scenes for trailers that don't appear in the film to throw people off. Um, wouldn't it be interesting if all of those people were there? They did shoot all of their cameos, and they were all cameos intended for the third film. So now we didn't see them, and now we all go into the third film not even thinking about it because the actors won't arrive on set. There won't be the rumors of, oh, this person's here because
Mhm.
the stuff's already shot. And then when the movie comes out, and I thought, that's a pretty sneaky move, and I don't think I would not put that above Kevin Feige to do that. I could see them doing that.
In
That's a lot
fairness,
of forethought, but I can dig on it.
I mean,
There's-
they've got the whole thing planned out for another 10 years. Talk about
Yeah.
forethought. They've got forethought.
hey, in all
yeah.
fairness too, there's also 40 minutes of film we haven't seen yet.
Right.
That was promised to be on the DVD release.
Because
Or
I
Blu-ray
think
release.
a lot of the things that were cut, and again, common man talking. I have no
Right.
I can't call Kev and be like, "Hey, Figs, it's
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Pistol."
You don't call Kev? I'm like, hey,
Yeah, I
Kev.
can't call Kev.
Kev
It goes straight to
Kev.
voicemail. It's weird. Uh,
I feel like he's screening my calls now. I don't know.
because like, so we get
It's
three
even
more.
weirder when the authorities show up right after
Yeah,
I
right.
call. That's even
Yeah.
stranger. Yeah.
Every
Like
time
they
I call him,
know
a Black Hawk
somehow.
helicopter appears. I'm like,
Yeah, right. Like,
is that a
what's
coincidence?
That's strange.
Yeah.
Because we only really get three multiverses, right? Technically, multiverses. We get
Right.
main one. We get utopian version
I
with the
guess the
Illuminati,
Illuminati version. Yeah, right.
and then
Yeah.
we get destroyed.
Right.
Didn't they? Did they call that one? Was it 683? Or I thought it was something
I
83.
thought it was
can't remember now.
838, and we're 616.
Maybe it was 8. Yeah, maybe that was it. I know we were definitely 616, and I think they might have been 838 or something.
I don't remember what the other plan. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
something to that
And
effect.
and don't get me wrong, you do get slight samples of a whole bunch of other realities, but you don't get to see any heroes or anything.
Right,
like
that's
that,
what I'm going to go
you
with.
know?
That's probably
Yeah.
what was cut, like the longer version of
Right.
that, where like,
I
like
think
in
so,
Guardians
too.
of the Galaxy 2, when they use the hyper
Time
oh,
jump,
God.
yeah, the
Yeah,
hyperspace jump.
I was going to
Yep.
make a Spaceballs. Yes, thank you. The
Yeah.
Spaceballs joke. But yes, because they show Uatu and Stan Lee and a
Yeah.
couple of other things flashback. I
Right.
feel like if that's where you cut something from, that's fine. We
Right.
could have gotten like a Deadpool, like watch him zing by or something silly. But yeah, once I saw pizza balls and the pizza
Well-
ball vendor, I was like, okay.
Okay.
Well, and then too, we'll get to the pizza ball vendor in a second because I want to talk about that. But also too, the way the film ends, we're going to have more of those run through scenarios in the next one. So it could be very easily that they cut it out of here, shift those scenes into the other film. That way we won't know. So yeah, I agree. That's the stuff that would get cut. But yes, the pizza ball salesman. Let's talk about the pizza
hang
ball
on.
salesman.
Before you go to them, I want to bring a sad note that I'm mad about. I was like, I just rewatched Shang-Chi and was like, oh, Wong gets him. He should be there, and he wasn't. And I was that kind of was like that was a little disappointing because I'm like, he should have been there. I know we talked about it before, and you were like, he could have been on a different mission. Who's to say that they didn't grab him before or after, and he had to go do something else? But the way that movie kind of ended, you really thought that this was the big thing they need their help with.
The other thing too I was thinking is that these movies don't come out chronologically.
Sure, that's what I'm
Not
saying
of
too.
them do.
Right.
So like
they could have grabbed him after.
Shang-Chi's appearance, his next appearance in the MCU, could take place at the same time as this, which would make him
Right.
unavailable.
Sure.
We don't know.
Right, we have no idea.
Based
right.
on what we know right now, yes, why wasn't he there? But then if that's the case, why didn't they call everybody?
Right.
Yeah.
Because this movie doesn't feel like it takes place. This movie feels like it takes place over, like, once Wanda says, "Oh, you didn't tell me her name," it's go. Like,
Mhm.
maybe Strange has an hour to marshal the forces of, Kumatar,
Right.
and he doesn't know Shang-Chi, and Wong's like, well, I got to contact the other bureaus, the other sanctums first, and then like maybe there was just no because there's no time because then it's boom right to the next dimension. Boom, we're at the
To me, the oh-ish moment was when he smells the branch. She goes, "Oh, it smells sweet, doesn't it?" He goes, "I was going to say real," and that's when I went, "Oh no!" Like, oh crap in a hat. So like that's when I knew it's go time, and that's when she was like, "Hey, I'm really not sane," and you're like, "Oh, okay, great."
And I've heard people complain about that, saying that she.
How?
Well, basically, there's this thing that's going on online that I've noticed where people are starting to complain about the Scarlet Witch Arc and saying that what happens in this movie negates the way that the film ended, or the way that WandaVision ended. But if you think about it,
too. Yeah.
But if you think about it, it
No,
doesn't
doesn't.
at all, because
Right.
that post-credit scene of her sitting there with the Darkhold, Agatha already told us in WandaVision, don't mess with the Darkhold.
Right.
And then it seems like she's better, but in that post-credit scene, she's clearly not.
In all fairness, WandaVision was her wanting to be reunited with her boys, like her husband and her boys. Oh yeah, you're right. Because then the boys come later on, but then she realized that she loves her boys, and then when they all get taken away, like her family gets taken away, she kind of accepts that Vision's gone,
Mhm.
but she's like, I really want my boys. So that leads perfectly into this movie where she's like, I'm doing all this just to get my
Right,
family back.
and the
Uh,
point is that people are saying that she is redeemed at the end of WandaVision, and I
oh
don't
no, I
think
don't see
she
that.
is.
I don't see that
I
at
don't
all.
think. I think if people think that, they've missed the point. Now,
They didn't see it right.
I
Right,
I
exactly.
could see, depending on how things play out, I could see her being redeemed after this,
Oh, or
To an
on her
extent.
way to
or on her
redemption
way to
after.
Yeah.
redemption,
Yes.
but not at the end of WandaVision.
No,
No way.
Yeah.
WandaVision, you saw she went to the dark side. That's like
Yeah,
if that's like you
yeah,
saw Darth Vader put on the suit and the red lightsaber, and everyone's like, he's a good guy now. No,
yeah.
man, the
Right.
red lightsaber's there. He bad. Like
No, I
it's
think
all
to
bad.
what you said, Smurphy, is the end of WandaVision is her accepting Vision's death,
Right.
Yes,
but not the
not her.
loss of her children.
Bingo.
And like
Yep.
a lot of people are like, oh, I wanted to see the fall. I'm like, you did.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
was
the-
WandaVision.
but-
WandaVision
yes.
was the fall of Wanda Maximoff.
Mhm.
Yeah, WandaVision is seeing Wanda's craziness take
Mhm.
form because
Yeah.
she kidnapped an entire town.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like
Well,
that's
and
not
there's a-
what nice people
yeah.
do.
There's a line later in Multiverse of Madness where they're like, well, why? The Illuminati's like, well, why hasn't Wanda done this yet? Or maybe it's him talking to Wong. I don't remember. And Strange just looks at me and goes, because in her mind, she's been charitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she has been. She's like, listen, I only want to kill this one person and then maybe another person. Because let's be honest, Wanda Maximoff, if she would have watched one episode of Rick and Morty, would have realized you just go to the universe where the dead
Yeah.
Wanda is and you just jump right
Right.
in.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No,
I can't
and
take
that was
credit
it.
for that.
She
Yeah.
she was just like, I want to take Chavez's power. If it kills her, it kills her, and I'm sorry for that, but I need her power to get what I want. And once I get what I want, everything else is cool. And this is me being easy on you guys.
Well,
And
she
then
even,
no one realized
she
that.
uses the term reasonable.
Yeah.
Because
That's
he
right.
says,
Thank you.
because
Yes.
he says, Wanda, be reasonable, and she looks at him, and goes, "This is me being
Yeah.
reasonable."
Yeah.
That was the moment that I went, "Oh shit, we're
And-
finally
and-
getting the Scarlet Witch."
And if you want to see her be even reasonable, go back to like Civil War when they're all fighting. And then you go back and watch like WandaVision and go, oh, she could have just taken all those heroes and just ripped them apart with a blink of an eye. Like she
Mhm.
could have even done that with Thanos.
Yeah.
But she's been her heart was nicer and now it's not. So now
I mean-
that's when again the oh-ish moment hit.
Go
and you're
back to
just like, oh,
Endgame.
crap.
Thanos
Yeah.
had to call down the thunder
Yes.
to stop Wanda from killing him.
Because
Like, he's like,
Right.
I can win a fist fight with Captain Marvel, but this chick?
Doesn't he say
Yeah.
rain fire?
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes rain
they're
fire
like,
now, and they go, "What about our soldiers?" And he goes, "Do it,
Do
and then
it.
They just, and they
Yeah.
just start calling down everything
Mhm.
until Cap Marvel arrives because he knows he's going to lose because he was losing bad to her.
Right.
And
Mhm.
there's that line where she's like, "You took everything from me." He's like, "I don't even know your name," and she was like, "Oh, you will when this fight's over." I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's honestly one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that-
one of mine too.
super
Yeah.
underrated. Yeah.
That's the goosebump moment where I'm like,
Really?
"Man, it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's going down right now. Like this is
Mhm.
it."
Because even people who don't know comics and you just see this, like she was gonna Ultron him. She was gonna rip his heart right
Mhm.
out
Yes.
from
Oh,
out
yeah.
from him.
Mhm.
She was going to rip his heart out through his neck hole. That's
Mhm.
after
Yeah.
she decapitated him. Like yeah, she was going to go pure just
Yeah.
awesomeness on her.
I mean, we're not talking about the movie chronologically, obviously, fans.
Obviously, yeah.
But I loved their kind of callback to Age of Ultron when she's trying to storm Kundar and she can't beat their shields, and so
Mhm.
she starts going into their minds and messing with them and be like,
Yeah.
"Be
Yeah.
afraid." And I was like, and there's the visual of her like coming in and out of their shadows.
Yes.
That was
And then
amazing.
she finds the weakness, and he goes, "Oh
Yeah.
no!" She found one, and there's like the guy gets scared, and all of a sudden she appears right behind him, and you're like, "Oh no!" Like, "Oh crap!" in a hat. Yeah.
I think when I saw the film, I think there was an audible like, "Oh shit" moment
Yes.
from like everybody in the theater, because it was just this
Oh, yeah.
visual. Well, crap, she got one.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's like your students. Because again, half those guys were students; they weren't
Mhm.
masters yet. So you're just like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
The whole time too, I kept going. Like in my brain, I was like, "Oh man, it's really cool that it was magic versus magic." Like it was and it wasn't, because you're like, "Oh, it's like magic versus magic," but it's like almost evil magic versus like more good magic. So it was just
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
cool to see
Sure,
back and
yeah.
forth. Like it's chaos magic versus Strange's magic. Whose is more powerful? Movie never answers that. It's cool to watch them go back and forth.
Mhm.
So
My only issue with that one fight was like, really, bows and arrows. I get it, we're infusing them with magic, but I'm like, no,
You
come on,
see-
man, Come
I was
on.
I was expecting them to be kind of like the Shang-Chi arrows, you know, kind of like manipulated with power.
Sure.
But I don't
Like,
think
you're
I don't think that's what
fighting
it was.
the
It was just
Scarlet Witch.
yeah. Let me
Yeah.
throw a
Pull out
toothpick
a
at you.
gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic bullets, you know?
Hey,
Yeah.
they pulled out a cannon. It didn't work. But let me hit you with
That's
my
true.
arrow.
They did bring out the
They
cannon. I
pulled two
forgot about the
cannons,
cannon.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
cannons, and it didn't even work. Yeah, so
Because I mean,
Well, if they had brought in the pizza ball guy,
yes.
that would have
Yes.
stopped everything.
he's
Poor
got to
pizza
get
ball
paid,
guy.
man. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
Poor
got to
pizza
get
ball guy.
paid.
I know.
It was funny. Like I said, I saw it with my folks, and my dad did not recognize him. He did
Really?
not. He
Yeah.
did not
Wow.
recognize that was Bruce Campbell until like the very end when he started hitting himself.
Yeah.
Fair.
He'll stop soon. 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks.
Oh, strange. Like, oh, jeez.
And did you guys catch the Sam Raimi nod in the post credit scene?
Which one?
Yeah.
The post credits, not the mid credits, the post credit scene.
Oh, the look at
Of-
the
Of Bruce Campbell punching himself
and it's over. It's
And it's
finally
over?
over. Yeah.
Right.
From the darkness.
from Army of Darkness.
Right.
Yeah, and Evil Dead 2 and the possessed hand of Bruce Campbell.
No one
And,
got
like-
that in my theater because
I know.
all I heard after that scene was that's what we stuck around for. That was it. That's what I
It
heard
was a
from
it was
several
a Sam
people.
Raimi nod. That was
I was like,
I
that's
thought
a
it was
Sam
beautiful.
Raimi Army of Darkness nod. That's not a Marvel
Yeah.
nod. And someone else just goes, I could look that up on YouTube. And I was like, you all need to leave. Give me your
Yeah,
nerd card.
yeah, well,
Catch them in. Like, no haters here.
It wouldn't have been as much fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on, guys, have some fun. This was essentially
Yeah.
Evil Dead 4. So shut up.
Yeah, right.
It really
Exactly.
I mean, it
Same.
really is. It really is a horror movie. It is Marvel's horror film.
The
Oh, man.
scene where I call the chase through the tunnels,
Mm-hmm.
right,
yeah.
reminded me a lot of the maze scene from The Shining.
Yeah, there is a lot of camera work that is
Like-
very evocative of
Mhm.
that. A lot of camera work that is very evocative of some moments from Evil Dead that I
Yes.
picked up on.
Oh yeah,
And,
like when Scarlet
super fun.
possesses her the first time in the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
was straight Evil Dead. Like
Yeah.
Straight Evil Dead,
picture
like
turns
around the
into-
corner, and yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
I
straight
really
Evil Dead.
appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, when the picture turned to look at her, I got creeped. I got
Oh, dude,
creeped.
I
Yeah,
got
it was
goosebumps, man.
creepy. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
neat. Yeah. Yeah. So there were really cool stuff like that, but I don't know about you guys. I think my favorite. Well, I don't know if it was my favorite moment in the film, but what I thought was the most creative moment in the film is the music note fight,
That was
which
that was fantastic.
mhm,
dynamite
mhm.
to watch
I agree.
That was
and
super
dynamite to
fantastic.
listen to.
Yes.
I mean,
Because
you
they
know,
kept
we all
adding it.
we
Yeah.
all know that Danny Elfman is amazing, but you're right, Pistol. He was adding the music as the
Mhm.
sound effects. It
Yes.
was like the sound effects and the music were working as one, and that was something that we've not ever seen before in a Marvel film. That was cool.
There was, I want to say, like one of my big praises for Harley Quinn and the Emancipation and that whole title.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or Birds of Prey, but I really
Birds of
like
Prey.
was that none of the fights in that movie were the same, and I
Mhm.
want to give that same credit here. All of the fights
Yeah.
were completely different, and I appreciate that.
Yes. No, you're right. Because every fight was a whole new thing.
Mhm.
It wasn't just like
From
magic versus
Gorath,
magic.
Sleepwalker, to fighting Wanda herself, to
Mhm.
fist fighting Mordo.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. That was Sleepwalker.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't say it, but
Mhm.
that was Sleepwalker.
yeah.
Clearly.
I feel justified in my calling that when we were just hanging out at your place,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, the way
Mhm.
that they kept talking about dream walking and everything. I mean, that was Sleepwalker. Come on,
Mhm, 'cause
guys. We
that-
all know that.
Because yeah, bullshit on Gargantua. That's Shumagorath.
It was Shumagorath.
You're not gonna like. I get it. You don't want to pay whoever owns the rights to that
Right.
right now, or whatever studio. So you're like, ooh, it was a Namor villain. Shut up, nerd. No, it wasn't.
No,
It was
it was
nerd.
Shumagorath.
yeah. Which, and I'm fine with them like kind of not saying it's him though, because that makes him available later. Because Shumagorath is the god of chaos, I want to say, or a god of chaos. So he is a big deal, and not really just somebody to throw at Strange to knock around in the first act.
You're talking about the tentacle monster, correct?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I was like, did I miss something? But yeah. Okay.
No, and that fight was super fun too.
That fight was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Again, though, I
well-
was kind of waiting for Spider-Man to swing in or something because I'm like, dude, this is his hood, and you wouldn't notice that. And like, okay, like whatever. But I know they can't do it all the time. Right. I know. Like I said, I dug into all the rumors, so the whole time I was waiting for him to swing in, and then I was like, oh, when he didn't, I was like, he's not. None of them are appearing in this. Like I said, I drank all the Kool-Aid for all those, so I was like, oh, well. Which is why I want to go see it again, because this time now that I've seen it once, and I know like the disappointment's over, I can go in and enjoy it, knowing what it's going to be.
Well,
I would see it again with you guys.
Yeah, we should. We should definitely all go and do a deeper dive review on it. Because we do have to move on to the third thing that happened this week. And actually, Pistol, you talking about, the god of chaos and gods is actually a perfect point to segue into the third major comic moment in the last 7 days. And that was Hippo! The finale of Moon Knight.
Or as I like to call it, Oscar Isaac acting against Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't know about you guys. I know that there have been a lot of some bizarre complaints about the show, about the way that multiple personality has been presented on the show, about Oscar Isaac's accent, the changes that were made to Moon Knight. I personally loved every freaking minute of that show as much as I did Doctor Strange.
Right. I guess my main response to people who are like, it's not exactly like the comics. It's like, it can't be. Like it can't be. The comic has used so much more availability because of the art form of comics or animation. Like you just literally can't.
Right.
So come on, guy. You got to give. If you're so strict on, if it's not 100%, then you're going to miss out on a lot of fun things. Because believe me, Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man out of the three, and he is not the comic Spider-Man.
Nope.
He's something totally different, and you just got to be open to it. There's a multiverse. Enjoy it. While they call this 616, that doesn't mean it's 616.
Let's just be honest. How have people not, like at this point, gone, there's a difference between your comic character and the MCU character, and the MCU character you can even bring into like the Disney Plus, guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a difference. So what you see in the comics is not going to be the guy that's on screen. Like this is not, because that would be boring. Because then you'd be like, oh, I know all his moves. I know what he's going to do. I know this villain. Why am I here? Right. And everyone's like, oh, I want to see that. I'm like, I don't think you do, man. Like deep down, you would not. You would get bored. You'd start looking on your phone. You'd be doing something else.
You're like, oh, I already read this.
Exactly. Right. Like this is so familiar that I'm bored with it. So they got to change it up a little bit.
And then in the case of Moon Knight, I mean, and I would not say that this happens all the time, but in the case of Moon Knight, the changes that were made, in my opinion, were better.
Yeah.
I actually like the changes more. And normally I get really annoyed when they try to change the comics to match the films. Normally that bothers me, like let the two things be separate. Mm-hmm. But I liked the changes to Moon Knight so much that I actually would not mind if they did more of that with the comics. Gave him more of that kind of symbiotic suit, made him more supernaturally connected in the comics than he already is. And he is quite supernaturally connected in the comics to begin with, but more so. I think it really works better.
That's what I was going to ask. Really what's the difference? Because I don't know anything about the comic. I'll be honest. I knew who he was in the comic. I knew he had split personalities. I knew he kind of was a schizo, but was a really cool fighter. I knew one of the fighters was always a guy who was kind of like a badass, But other than that, except for those few internet memes of him doing goofy stuff, I really didn't know who that guy. Who I'm like, who's Moon Knight? Who is this guy?
So Moon Knight, the big change to Moon Knight is he doesn't have that symbiotic suit. He's literally Batman.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
he puts on a suit and the cape. There's no powers.
So he's just like a regular superhero.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
even Mr. Knight, which didn't come till later. Like
Mhm.
in the early books, all three of the personalities, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley, all three of them, when they would become Moon Knight, they just wore the Moon Knight suit, and it was Batman. It was gadgets, and it
Interesting.
was like
Yeah.
even
Okay.
he even had like a bat wing. I forget what it was called.
It's called the
The
Moonwing. Hell yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, something like that
Yeah.
though. It is
Copyright
something
that
like
right now.
that. It wasn't until later that they started to say that one of them wears the Mr. Knight suit, and then when the other personality takes over. But the
Hmm.
idea that the suit is symbiotic and
I mean, to an
takes
extent.
on to an extent, it's
Yeah.
very. I mean, it changes depending on the personality
True.
that's wearing it.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, but like when you say symbiotic, I normally think of like the symbiotes being like alive, like Venom. You know,
Mhm.
like it's alive and it
No, no,
lives and breathes.
symbiotic. No, symbiotic. The way that Spawn's symbiote
Yes.
suit
Yes.
is.
In that.
It's
Yes.
still a
In that way.
symbiotic suit, but
True.
it's not a living
Right.
organism.
Being.
Yeah.
And it does. And I like how they do explain that in the show where they're like, hey, it also heals you. Without my healing
Hmm.
powers, you wouldn't be where you are now. And you're like,
Right,
oh,
right,
that's how he
right,
can handle getting the crap
right.
kicked out of him and shot and be
And
fine.
and I like that because otherwise, I don't mind Marvel having a Batman,
I don't
but
either.
in my mind, that's Daredevil,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you don't need two of them. So this is
Agreed.
something different, and I like these changes. I liked what they did.
I do too, because to me it feels like they can take him down a more supernatural road,
Hmm.
Oh
like with
yeah.
monsters and things like that, like the Anubis dog that he fought, or
Right.
whatever gods or whoever he goes up against. Because I have a feeling we're gonna build to the Midnight Suns before we build to the next Avengers, and so I would be totally down with superpower Moon Knight, helping alongside Blade and the Black Knight fight these threats.
I think you are right there. I don't think that the Midnight Suns will be quite what we know them as from the comics, but the
Yes.
fact that we're getting a Werewolf by Night Halloween special this
Oh,
year
that's
that
cool.
will be in continuity,
Mm-hmm.
and they've also announced that Man Thing will be in that special,
Huh.
and that will be in continuity. And we're already going down that horror route with Multiverse of Madness, and
Mm-hmm.
even though Moon Knight wasn't really horror, it was kind of supernatural horror. It was certainly monsters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I absolutely can see a build up to some form of the Midnight Suns, which I
Mm-hmm.
am all about. I think that's super cool.
Yeah,
Now,
I
for
think
the
it's only a
record,
matter of time until we see Ghost Rider again. Either the Agent
Hmm.
of Shield Ghost Rider, who I didn't mind, I
I
actually
I
like him.
really
loved
liked
him.
it. Yeah, or they give us a Johnny Blaze.
No,
Hmm.
again, I went Nicolas Cage without the CGI, just with his head painted like a skull in flames. Running
That's
I
what
would
around.
Mark
watch
would do.
that.
Yes, yeah.
I
Because
would watch that no matter what.
Murphy was like, those are terrible movies. I'm like, no, hold on. And like, you
Yeah,
Google it, there's the image. I'm like, watch it, but imagine this the whole time. That's how I do it, and I love
movies.
those
Yeah,
movies.
movies instantly better, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't mind
I don't
the
mind the first
first
one.
one.
I don't either. I
I mean,
I
rewatched
it's
like
it
the
not
second
it's
recently.
not a
one
good
more.
movie, but
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
like the
not. But
second one more because the funny thing about the first Ghost Rider movie, and then I promise we'll get off this tangent because that's what we do,
that's fair. Yeah,
is
that
that
is what we
Sam
do.
Elliott's character is like you figure out right out the way that he's another Ghost Rider, but
Mhm.
he's like,
Right.
I only got one
He's a
ride
smuggler.
left. It's like, or I can only do one more turn. It's like, well, just ride with me then and turn when I have to fight the devil's son, and we can take him together. No, not at all. I'm like,
No,
right,
I'm
thanks,
just gonna
man.
ride with you there and not
Yeah,
really do anything.
Yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
helpful at all.
Yeah.
I'm moral support. Get him,
Yeah.
Tiger. Like, what?
Um,
Thanks.
yeah, I thought that they did a really great job, and it's funny because friends of mine who don't really know much about it, they kept asking me. They were like, "I'm confused about the fact that he keeps blacking out, and neither he nor Steven know what's going on, and why is that?" And I was like, "Well, because they're probably going to bring us the third personality."
Mhm.
And then they didn't really. I mean, they kind of hinted at it, and they didn't really mention it. And I thought, oh, I guess we're not going to go there until they gave us that awesome post credit scene.
Well, they teased him 3 times, I want to say.
They teased it, but
Once,
they didn't actually do
yeah,
anything.
yeah. But I wish we would get a scene from Layla's point of view from that last fight where he just
Yeah.
because
Time
she's
out.
fine.
We have to
So like,
rewind.
I want to know
There's
what
a
the suit looks like and what he did.
there's a post-credit scene on Disney Plus.
You
Yeah.
missed it?
My Disney Plus would cut out before the scene would hit.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
no, it's like a mid-credit scene.
Oh, okay.
What's the last thing on Moon Knight you saw, buddy?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, like the last episode and the credits were rolling, and then the Disney, like, as soon as the credits start rolling, my Disney Plus immediately shrinks it down and kind of almost gets rid of it.
You need to
But,
watch
but
it.
what
and
was the
tell it not
last
to do
thing
that.
you saw? What was the last moment you saw on the show?
I could not tell you, and right now I could not tell you. That's why
What
I was like,
did-
I wonder if I even saw it. I was like, maybe I did see it. I don't
Did
know.
somebody come into a psych ward and retrieve Ethan Hawke and put him in a stretch limo?
You know what? No, I guess the last thing I saw was that they were in the psych ward, and he started bleeding or whatever. And Steven was like, "I guess this really isn't your place, is it, man?" Again, I'll have to. It was a couple
Oh.
days ago, yeah, because I was like, maybe I did see it, and I just wasn't like, was just like, I
Maybe.
don't know what this means, and blocked it out. Because that's sometimes that happens where I'm like, I see something, I'm like, if I don't know what this is, I'll look it up later, and then I
It
kind of forget about
confirmed the Jake Lockley thing. Is what
Oh,
it does.
okay,
It
okay.
confirmed the third personality.
But still go back
Okay,
and watch it
cool.
because it's super fun.
It's still
No,
it's super
now
fun. And-
tonight I'm gonna watch it 4 times,
And
just so
it-
it stays in there.
It also goes into the whole thing where when Mark and Steven make the deal with Khonshu that you
Right.
have to let us go when
Go.
this is done, and he goes, fine, I will make that deal. He holds up his end of the deal. He let them go. He did not let Jake Lockley go.
Right.
So, and
my
that was
friends
what
weren't-
that moment did.
Because my friends who aren't comic nerds kept talking about that, and they were like, I don't get this, man. He blacks out, and everyone's like beaten up or dead or whatever. And I go, yeah, man, there's a third personality. And they go, well, who is it? And I go, well, clearly he's a better fighter than the mercenary. And they were like, oh, because I go, he's taking out guys a mercenary guy can't take. So he's got to be a way better fighter than that. So he's either a serial killer or something. We'll find out later. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they kind of never really reveal it. So I have to go back and let people know, like, hey, man, watch that end credit. Like,
It's like a mid credits. So
okay, like,
yeah.
we're like make sure Disney Plus doesn't do what it
like
did to me.
when you
like,
when you
Frozen,
watch
man.
when you watch the credits and it shows like the images with the cast and everything,
right? Yeah.
And once it shows the title Moon Knight, it goes into the mid credit scene, and that's the
Okay.
scene that you need to watch.
I got you. See, so listeners, there you go. In case you're like me and in your Disney Plus, this goes, no, let's move on to the next thing. Say no, Disney Plus, not today.
Right.
No.
Can we just talk for a second about how incredible Ethan Hawke was too?
Oh
Man,
my
he was
God,
great,
he was
man.
great.
I swear, as he gets
always
older,
great.
as he gets older, he's just getting better.
Oh, he is. He's getting better and better. And I actually read an interview with him right after he did Magnificent Seven that roles like the Moon Knight role and westerns and all of this stuff, that is what he's always wanted to do. But because he like Paul Rudd and Tom Cruise and these guys, he's always looked younger than he really is. So he's never looked right for this stuff. Well, now he's starting to age more visually, and now he can play it, and you can just tell he's having the time of his life.
Oh, yeah.
He's loving it.
According to Oscar Isaac, I think I saw it on Late Night. He came up with that opening scene for episode 1 of him having the drink, folding the napkin, breaking the glass, putting it in his sandals, and apparently Ethan Hawke just thought of that. He's like, yeah, let's do that.
That's a powerful scene, man. Like,
It is.
it's
It
right
is
out
a
of the gate,
powerful
you're kind
scene,
of going.
yeah.
You're like, oh, this guy's got a little bit of OCD. Oh, he's really like cautious.
Well,
oh, he broke the cup. That's weird. Oh, he put it in his shoes. What? Like,
he's a smart guy. I mean, he's
Oh, yeah.
written 3 or 4 novels, and I've read I think I've read 2, and they're really good. I mean, he's a smart guy. There's no doubt he is a smart guy. So it was a big week for nerds. I mean, Free Comic Day, Moon Knight, and Doctor Strange. I mean, it's hard pressed to get a bigger week than that all at one time. It really is.
I defy anybody to think of something else coming this year that's going to be such a wham bam,
I mean, Thor will be cool, but I think that's the only thing happening that week. So,
what about the week of the 27th? Because I know Obi-Wan comes out. I thought like Obi-Wan comes on Disney Plus. I thought they were releasing another Marvel movie. I don't know. I thought there was a lot of comic stuff going on that weekend, but I could be
there
wrong.
could be
No.
other things, but I think the next Marvel movie is Thor, so
It is
that'll
in
be in like
July.
June or
Okay.
July. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Star Wars, yeah, I don't know. Obi-Wan seems pretty big. So,
I mean, maybe
but, I
when
mean,
Miss Marvel drops, some stuff will happen with
maybe.
that.
Maybe. I mean, no matter how you cut it, Miss Marvel, Obi-Wan, um, Thor, and then later on in the year we've got Black Panther, we've got Black Adam. Like there is a lot of awesome stuff, and even non-comic related stuff like Jurassic World. Although
Mhm.
there were Jurassic Park comics, so I guess that does
Yep.
kind of count. Um, I mean, it's a good year. This is a good year all the way around, but this was probably the biggest week of the year.
Yeah.
I think.
The mouse knows what it's doing.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we do want to ask all of you listeners out there: did you take part in Free Comic Day? Did you see Doctor Strange? And have you finished watching Moon Knight? Hopefully the answer is yes to all of it. Otherwise, we just spoiled everything for you. But share with us your thoughts. Head to all of our social medias, and you know where we're at. We're all over the place now. We're even on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us all over the place. Discord. You can get in touch with us. Let us know what you thought about any one of those three things, or share any of the cool stuff you got from Free Comic Day.
I would love to. Yeah, I love seeing what people get. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think it's just super.
No,
neat.
I think it's cool too. Yeah. And maybe we'll even start doing some of that, listeners, on YouTube and TikTok. Maybe we'll start doing some unboxing of some of these cool statues that we get.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys got me an awesome statue of Aquaman for my birthday, and Smurfy, you just got Gambit, and Pistol, you just got Doom. So maybe going down the future, maybe we start doing that for listeners, and we start showing off our stuff. You guys show us yours as well.
Yeah, you show us yours, we'll show you ours.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Well, listeners, I think that about does it for this episode. So until next time, I am Dr. Impact.
I am Smurphy.
I'm the host of Lifestyles of the Geek and the Fabulous, Pistol Danger.
We'll see you next time.
What he means is you and everyone you know should subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on every app possible.
You have a brain fart?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
You say series, but how do you know we're not talking about comic series?
Yeah.
That doesn't count. Not on this podcast, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No.
I forgot. I forgot that we don't talk about comic books
That's
on a
right.
comic
Yeah,
book podcast.
That's foreboding. How dare you?